Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Thursday, and tell ya, if you haven't checked out my playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art, now's the time to do so, because we are living it. Just like I said, there would be a seminal event that turned the public against the monarch. We've had it. Tommy Robinson, the march in London. Further, all of the revelations with Andrew and Sarah. Virginia's book, leaked emails. The public is voicing its disapproval with the way the royal family, King Charles, has dealt, or for that matter, not dealt with this problem. We've even got MPs baying for blood. And as of today in the Daily Mail, we learn that number 10 refuses to give MPs time to debate Prince Andrew's conduct, despite pressure on the King's brother over the rent-free mansion and the Epstein situation. And now here you go. We talked about this before too. Number 10 said that the royal family, quote, would not want to take time from other important issues, unquote, despite a growing clamor from MPs. And, I've said this before. The palace can say, oh, we don't want Parliament to be taken up by this. Parliament can say, oh, the royal family doesn't want us, we've got bigger fish to fry. Really, it takes a letter from the king. They take it to Parliament. They have a vote. This is what the king wants. Considering it's what the MPs want, it's not going to be, what are they taking time away from? Just put it that way. That they can't, but there's all kinds of rules in Parliament. For example, you can't just randomly bring up or speak badly or raise a concern about the royal family at all. It's just not done. Even in Parliament, they're above reproach. And I mean, what we've got now, the situation, the government of the day in Parliament controls the vast majority of time that in the Commons chamber, how it's spent. And it means so the chances of this matter being debated have been drastically lowered. In fact, there's only, I think, 20 times a session where the opposition or an independent MP or something can bring something up. There's limited opportunities to do that. There's that. There's a couple ways for MPs to bring questions to committees. But I mean, Andrew will never be called out by Parliament at the best. At the best, they can convene a committee to look at the issues. We know what happens with committees. It's just another way of tossing the ball around because nobody wants to make that decision. The king doesn't want to make it official and put it through Parliament. Parliament, the last thing they want to do is implicate a member of the royal family. And I mean, just in the long run, it could be done in the course of an afternoon if everybody wanted to do it. If the king went If the king went to Keir Starmer, the prime minister, and said, this has got to be done, talk to your people, we'll have a special session, a special vote, it's got to be done, it would be done that afternoon. This is just how they play around. This is just how they play around, right? You know, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. You know, and Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House in Britain, he brought up, well, we could convene this committee and have Andrew come in and speak directly to them and answer questions. You think he's going to voluntarily show up and answer questions to Parliament? The chance of that is about as good as him showing up in Washington, D.C. and like some of these people, you know, and telling everything he knows. It's hilarious. Daytime TV is just awash with apologists for Sarah. Oh, bless her soul, she's made a ghastly mistake, but you know, oh, Sarah. And same for Andrew, and you know, and so it goes. One thing I like, there's been a couple of royal journalists, royal reporters, authors that have said, you know, in the day they'll have these daytime TV panel discussions, right? And be like, you know, I don't understand why Andrew just doesn't fix this once and for all. Talk to the authorities, tell him everything he knows. Why doesn't he just do that? Well, because, my dear, and I mean, I know, yeah, innocent till proven guilty, he's never been charged, he's never been implicated, but circumstantial evidence, emails, Epstein, not just Epstein, Nygaard. It's a whole thing. There comes a point you can't deny that something shady's gone on. That is why Andrew would never submit himself to any kind of questioning, whether it be a parliamentary committee or the FBI or something. Not a chance of that ever happening. So, well, you've got a country and its government up in arms about a terrible situation that's weakening the very monarchy that rules them, and everybody's too afraid to act, and that includes the king. Putting Andrew and Sarah's title in abeyance it's a performative act. Doesn't really do anything. He hasn't lost it. Means there's an opportunity he can always get it back. He hasn't lost anything. He's still in Royal Lodge despite not paying rent or a utility bill in 22 years. There was the original purchase. That was it. He hasn't paid a dime since then. How's that fair? He's a freeloader. And Sarah, well, she's just along for the ride. What has to happen is what I've been saying all along in my playlist is what's going to happen, what's happening behind the scenes. And that's been verified by things coming out in the press. I've said all along that it would be William that is putting the pedal to the metal behind the scenes. He's driving. He's driving the situation. He's not satisfied. The king didn't go far enough. But that's what I've always said, and now we've had it confirmed that a lot of this is William driving the situation behind the scenes. William has no love lost for his uncle Andrew, let alone Harry and Meghan, and they're going to be next. This is going to get ugly. The king won't act. Now, we have a situation because we know the king is suffering from cancer. A lot of people say he's a lot sicker than they let on. Now, I've been saying within the context of this playlist, before we even had a diagnosis, that the king's reign would be short, that it would be William that compels him to leave because of the results of the seminal event, and we've had all of that, and we're right in the middle of the timeline, and we've got the public turning against the king. The king won't act. The government won't act without the king's approval. The king does not want to so permanently deal with his brother, Andrew. I think in part because he's afraid of what Andrew and Sarah might do. Can you imagine what he might say in a book or an interview? So far he's kept quiet, but and I mean, we could say the same thing. Well, the things that could be said about Andrew and Sarah, the whole damn lot of them are corrupt, and this is the problem. Everybody's afraid to do anything lest somebody else will stick the knife in. That's where we're at in context of the relationships within the royal family. William, who, as I've been saying all along, and it's now confirmed, has been managing things behind the scenes. He's not satisfied. The king has not gone far enough. And people are saying now, well, when William becomes king, wow, watch out, because he's going to deal with Andrew. And then he's going to deal with Harry and Meghan next. And that's true. But what I don't think people realize is how soon it's going to be. Whether it's by demise or William's actions, the king's only got a matter of months. And I've been saying this for a long time. Because Andrew won't put up with this stuff anymore. Not a chance. He's not. I've been saying for a couple of months now that I believe by early spring, a matter of months, that we are going to see the king step down. And even before that, William taking a larger role in things. He'll be the one, he's already the one everybody's watching. People have caught on to the fact that he's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Andrew, and for that matter, Sarah, should be very worried. I mean, they've got resources, they've got money, they've got friends, they've got mansions elsewhere. They're not going to be living out of the back of their car, but it is going to be a striking humiliation. And when William gets around to Harry and Meghan, Harry must be really worried now. Harry's getting worried now because he knows. He knows his time is short. That's why he's scrambling, trying to cut a deal. And just like I've said in the playlist, Life Imitating Art, King Charles III, as well as the time loop, which concerns Harry and Meghan exclusively, and they're all kind of converging. that there are going to be deals made. There are going to be financial deals made. There is going to have to be a financial deal to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge. They were saying in terms of his lease, even though he hasn't paid any money into it in 22 years, in terms of the lease as it stands, they would have to pay out at least $200,000 or $300,000 directly to Andrew to break the lease, something like that. So he'd gain a little bit of cash. But that's not the financial settlement I'm talking about. I'm talking about some big bucks authorized by the king. It's going to take a lot of money to shove Andrew and Sarah aside. And I've said before, and I believe the talks are already happening, whether Harry and Meghan stay together, or whether they divorce, whether they come back to Britain, or just Harry does, or whatever happens, there's going to be a financial settlement there too. And I believe that's already underway. Harry would like that to include all the flummery and the protection officers and the 5-car motorcade and the A1 status. He's going to try again. He's made another bid with the new Home Secretary to try to reopen his case with Ravik and have yet another appeal. I don't think it's going to work. Because you see, he wants a deal made while the king is still around. What Harry doesn't realize, right, is that once the king's gone, once the king's out of the picture and William is the new monarch, anything that the king may have put into place can be reversed, changed, omitted by the new monarch. Nothing is set in stone, only so much as the monarch approves of it. That's like things like letters patent. Nothing more than an inter-office memo, the monarch saying, okay, we're doing this now. Change of procedure. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. It's not the big hoopla they make it out to be. Same thing with this whole situation with Parliament. Could be a 10-minute phone call with the king. But the king meets Keir Starmer once a week. He could say, look, we got to do this. Set aside an afternoon in Parliament. Let's get this done. And it would be done. Instead we've got this back and forth. Oh, number 10 refuses to give MPs time to debate this Prince Andrew's situation, saying that the royal family, quote, wouldn't want to take time away from other important issues. They're just tossing the ball back and forth because nobody wants to make the decision. But I'll tell you, even if William doesn't put pressure on the Prime Minister or his Parliament, William can do it all by his little lonesome. He doesn't need Parliament. He's above Parliament. And say, you're out. You're done. Letters patent, he can take even the prince title away. People are saying, oh, that's his birthright. Him, Andrew, and Harry. Well, that's his birthright. Always be a prince. No, not always. There's circumstances. It's the monarch's prerogative. They can do whatever they want whenever they want. But if you're looking for a reason or looking for a precedent, what is it, Norway, Sweden, that one prince that's up on the grape charges, and his grandmother, the queen, has ripped even the prince title from him. Perhaps similar circumstances, whatever the case, Andrew sure brought a lot of shame upon the royal family, as has Harry. Good enough reason to make them outcasts, exiles. Take all the titles away. It can be done. It's not like it can never be done. So all of this back and forth and argument you hear for this or that or what can be done, and oh, it's so complicated and constitutional this and that. They really play up all the flummery, so it makes it sound like it's a really big deal to the public. It's not. It's an interoffice memo that they're all afraid. They're all afraid to write. But now we have William Rising. And the timeline of the playlist, King Charles III and the events that are taking place are exactly what I laid out over 2 years ago, and it is playing out. We're living history. And if I'm right, and I think I am, in a matter of months, we're going to have a new king, and boy, is he going to shake things up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, hit that notification button, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.